Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy Man. For today's video, we have a top 10 list by Colin Cowherd. I actually really like the premise of this list title. It's Colin's top 10 all-time most important players in NBA history, man. So, when it comes down to it, when we say top 10, we splash off, the top 10 greatest players of all time. But what does that mean exactly? In this case, it's specifically correlated with importance to the game of basketball and the NBA itself. So let's go ahead and get going on this as we go through it. Maybe I'll say why the players listed are important to me, and of course if I agree or disagree. All right.
There's been a lot of debating, and we don't do a debate show here about who are the 10 best basketball players of all time. And I thought, what does best mean?
Right.
It's easier for me to get my arms around impactful and important.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My wife's the most important person in our family. That's an easy one. Best? What does that mean? Is best points? Is it MVPs? If you're going to put best in, you can argue that Bill Russell wasn't as talented as Wilt. Russell won 11 titles. It's the most ever. It's almost double Jordan.
Yeah, there's difference between like best accolades and stuff, and then all around skill. And I think for the most part, when people talk about top 10 lists, I think they're talking about most skillful players. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe I don't know, because it seems like Bill Russell, obviously one of the most dominant centers of all time. But I think we can agree as far as overall skills. There's a lot of centers in history that were better offensively, had better moves and stuff like that. But Bill Russell still has impact on winning and everything, and that was the big one with that. So, but then how does that compare to I don't know, other people that are in the top 10? Are you just looking at their skills or their rings or everything put together? I don't know, man. I think with Bill Russell, because he dominated and got so many rings, that it is a combination of everything. And he exceeded so much in that factor. That's why you have him in top 10, right? That's one way I can look at it, man. I don't know. Top 10 lists are very confusing.
So I thought, I'm going to tell you who I believe are the most important players.
All right, let's get it.
In the history of the NBA. For a variety of reasons, but I don't think you can argue their importance. And so, in no real order.
Oh, okay.
I just think I'm going to go in chronological order in terms of eras. So the first one I would mention is Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, there we go.
Not only did he win 11 NBA championships, so he's the winningest player in league history. He was a coach. He was a broadcaster when I was a kid growing up. He defined what it was about. It wasn't about blocking shots. It was about blocking the ball to a teammate. Russell was all about winning, and that is still what we love most about players today. Bill Russell, one of the 10 most important players in league history.
I agree with that take 100%.
I would follow that with Jerry West, the logo. Not only was Jerry a great player, I don't know if you knew this, he played 14 years in the league. He was an all-star every year. He then became an architect for arguably the most popular team in league history. The Showtime Lakers.
Right.
He built that puppy. And he's also part of the Winning Time movie we're seeing right now. Jerry West.
See, that's another thing, though. I'm sorry, but are we? So we're also talking life after basketball, after actually playing the game. Because in that case, you got Michael Jordan, who is the Michael Jordan of bad GMs, or bad owners, I should say. So, how does that influence things? I'm just saying.
Is so important to the history and marketability of the NBA. Third, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was in the early 70s when he won a title in Milwaukee and then told the team privately, trade me. I'm not going to go public. He became the league's all-time leading scorer. He's the only player in league history with 6 championships and 6 MVPs, 20 years, 19 All-Star games. He was in the movie Airplane, often stoic and prickly.
Also in an episode of Full House.
He's the greatest scorer ever, the most unstoppable shot
I don't think that's on his resume,
ever.
though. Maybe
and
it
again,
is.
In the history of the Lakers, there have been more popular players, never one as dominant. Then I would go Dr. J. The term posterized, he added flair to the league.
Hell yeah.
He also legitimized the ABA, which remains one of the great sports stories of all time. He then was the best player.
Yeah, y'all see, damn, Flint Tropics almost had a damn NBA team. But, I don't know, they didn't make the cut with it or something like that. But, yeah, the ABA, definitely a pretty cool, like, turning point, obviously, in the history of the NBA with the merger and everything.
He came to the NBA and was arguably the best player in that league. He had one of the early shoe contracts.
Second greatest afro to Jackie Moon.
If I remember, with Converse. Scored over 30,000 points between both leagues. To me, he's arguably the most memorable player from my childhood, Dr. J. I'll put Magic and Bird in together. They joined the league together in 79.
No, you can't do that.
In trouble.
No. You gotta make a choice. You gotta make a choice. You can't say both. That's not how lists work. I mean, obviously they should both be on this list. And if you were to put any two players together, it would be these two. I don't know, man, just, like, as far as, like, rivalries go and just, like, East versus West, like, you got the Celtic great, you got the Laker great. I mean, what a fantastic time for basketball. Let's call it like it is, man.
Broke franchises. It wasn't terribly marketable. The championship, the finals was on tape delay after the late news. They had a college rivalry briefly. Indiana State and Michigan State met for the championship. Later became friends. But it was the Celtics, it was the Laker, it was Hard-Nosed, Larry Bird, it was Showtime, Magic. Hugely, hugely valuable to the domestic product. Then Michael Jordan, that made the sport global. Arguably the greatest player ever, the most marketed player ever. Made over $1 billion from Nike. According to Forbes, his brand is now worth $10 billion. 10 times LeBron.
It's with a B.
Now think about that. 10-time scoring champ.
Okay, like, I get that, like, financially saying, like, you know, MJ's, like, worth 10 times more than LeBron, but, like, can we also let LeBron get to MJ's age before we, you know, use that as a thing? I don't know, man, just, like, I don't know, just, I think the fact that LeBron's worth this much at his age is literally insane.
And I would argue the most memorable and dynamic player in league history. After that, Kobe Bryant. You know Kobe's shoes this year were worn by 90 players? They were the most worn shoe in the league. Man. All-time leading scorer in the most noteworthy franchise in this league, the Los Angeles Lakers. An 18-time All-Star. Closest thing we've ever seen to Michael with the same level of artistry. LeBron James, second most points in league history. Popularized
gonna be in front of LeBron.
mobility.
He's this era? He's this era?
Players.
Huh.
Has opinions about politics, which are polarizing to some, but has never backed down. He has won championships. Miami.
So I would have to assume in front of LeBron. See, this is gonna get a little off right here. Because he's probably gonna have, I'm gonna say probably Steph Curry and Giannis in front of him. But, like, I still think LeBron is just as influential now than he was 10 years ago. Like, I still feel like in this era and everything. So I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll see who he has in front of him. I'm going to guess Steph and Giannis. That's just my thoughts. But could be somebody I'm not thinking of.
Cleveland and Los Angeles. Still remains a top 5 player in the league 2 decades in. And finally, Steph Curry.
Oh, finally,
literally
Steph
changed
Curry.
the game. It looks different at the high school.
Oh, okay, because he got Larry and Magic together. Okay, so he did count that as 2. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
College and professional level. From G League to international, we play basketball differently, analytically, because of Steph Curry.
Right.
4 titles in 8 years. I also think he's made it incredibly cool to be selfless. Always an underrated facet at all levels of basketball. 10 best, I don't know. 10 most important players in professional basketball history. That's.
I don't disagree with any of these players here, obviously. And you know, he is going by era and everything too. I think one thing to mention with Kobe is also his impact on the international aspect of basketball. You know, a big part of that too, obviously, was like Yao Ming. But yeah, I mean, people in China, they absolutely love Kobe, man. Like, they absolutely love Kobe Bryant. Like, that dude was a probably bigger celebrity over there than he was in the United States. Like, let's call it like it is. But I don't know, one player I would like to add, maybe as like number 11. I do think Allen Iverson, as far as like important and just, I don't know, just like changing the way that the game of basketball was maybe like viewed, and just, I don't know, man, just like just giving it this like flair to it, that maybe wasn't always there. I mean, Dr. J, the dude had flair himself, don't get me wrong. Magic Johnson had flair himself, but I think Iverson just took it to another level that really started to like save the NBA in a sense. I know what was it like? I might just be thinking in terms of the Detroit Pistons because I was just like, man, what about like the late 90s? Like the Detroit Pistons like wasn't great, but it's like, well, wait, no. I mean, the NBA was still fun to watch, but I don't know, man. I feel like Iverson just kind of like gave a little bit something up in there. So that's all we got for this video. I would say overall this is not a bad list. Like, there's not anything I can roast about it. Especially when it's like, just like top 10, not ranking top 10. So that's all we got, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out, my friends.